Well, what I remember about October 22nd, 2014, was that it started off as a beautiful day, but very quickly turned into shock um, and then sadness.
My immediate assumption actually was that it was a false alarm. And at the very first moment, I didn't take it very seriously, to be honest with you. But then when people in heels are running in a newsroom, you know it's serious.
I would say my first reaction was same as Ruth, was it wasn't really a big deal. You know, there might have been some shooting, a crime. We didn't really make that.
Like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, didn't make that connection.
Yeah.
So, you know, but you still have to be very cautious about what you tell the public. You know, you didn't want people stampeding out of the downtown core, people becoming injured. But when we saw the police presence on the streets, like we knew everything had been raised to a whole new level that we hadn't seen before.
On one hand, we've got the operations of an ongoing event that's taken place, and that's one of our key priorities, is to identify are there other individuals involved and bring that to a conclusion, because public safety will always be our number one priority. But on the other hand, is we have this piece around ensuring that our community is informed and that they're engaged. So we sent out a memo or an email to all our faith-based organizations from me, as their chief, to let them know what was going on, and to understand as well that we recognize that there may be some other impacts regarding the event that took place in the days to come, and that they needed to know that they can pick up the phone, they can call us, they can email us to inform us of any concerns that they may have.
I remember receiving the email from the police chief, from the police service, reaching out to community leaders, and I was on that list as well. And it was very reassuring to know that despite the great security threat, despite all the chaos downtown, that the police service and the police chief, who actually ran into that morning, the morning after the shooting, coming out of an interview, that they were concerned for all citizens, and they were recognizing that there was a possibility and a really real fear that there may be a backlash against the Muslim community.
That discussion about being a terrorist, whatnot, I think was, we paid more attention to that, admittedly. It was, I'll say, imperfect coverage, but certainly the first discussions when we decided where you can take the story, certainly on a news point of view, was about that. There was a focus more on the terror part of it, as opposed to who this man was.
I understand, as someone who studied journalism and worked as a journalist, that news moves very fast. There's a rush to try to come out with breaking news alerts and headlines. But I think for the most part, there was an effort, and I felt it myself, because I actually called a few media outlets to say that I was available for comment, and they actually weren't even thinking about the Muslim community and said, well, we're not even thinking about that, but thanks for calling and we'll keep your information on hand. So I think that was very positive. At the same time, of course, there's always room for improvement, but I think as long as there is this recognition and understanding that we can always do better, then I think we definitely can capitalize on that and continue to work together, allowing the media to do the very important job that they have to do, and also helping them do that in a responsible fashion.
Sukhinder was one of the people who he called us, and we put him on the radio the next day. To actually have that relationship, that people felt like they could contact us directly, to feel like it was a two-way thing was important, and I'm kind of proud now looking back at that that's something worth building on.
I think there are connections that have been built, primarily on an individual level, but I think collectively when we look at that as a community, it's definitely great to have those connections, especially with City Hall and with the police service. But at the same time, I will be the first one to acknowledge that there is a lot of work to do, especially on a united front, with organizations working together, and not just reaching out to politicians or to agencies, but reaching out to other communities as well. There definitely is an opportunity here to broaden the scope of that, and to really be there for one another and to connect with all of our fellow citizens, regardless of which group they may be in.
True partnerships are built on relationships of trust, and I think it's critical when we're faced with such an event that we have strong leaders in our community, and I'm fortunate to work alongside with a lot of great community leaders. I'm fortunate to be the chief in this great city, and to work alongside the great leaders across the community, and it makes our city strong, healthy, and safe.